G'day guys, Sammy here, coaching module 50 metre penalties. Let's get stuck into it. So laws of the game, we head there, out of the laws, that's the spirit and intention. So we look at the few different areas as they come up there from the law book. We'll unpack these in a second. And then obviously there's a second part to the 50 metre penalties law, which is preventing the player taking the next act of play. What's covered in this coaching module? Obviously the law relating to 50 metre penalties and examples of the implementation, funny buggers, and preventing a player from taking part. Let's get stuck into it with the law relating to 50 metre penalties and examples. So, first one, has moved off the mark. Second, when in the immediate contest unreasonably holds a player. Thirdly, when not in the immediate contest holds a player after that player has marked the football or been awarded a free kick. 4, enters or does not make every endeavour to immediately vacate the protected area. 5, has not returned the football directly on the full. 6, engages in any conduct which delays or impedes the play. And then engages in any other conduct for which a free kick would ordinarily be awarded. So our first one we're going to unpack is has moved off the mark. So a crucial part of obviously our set kicks is the strong hand and stand. The Marty Roger photo there, strong hand signal, strong communication. Hopefully that really helps us to get a strong set kick in place to avoid paying the 50 metre penalties for having moved off the mark. But once we've told them for strong hand or called them to stand with a strong hand and stand signal, then we move into no movement other than up and down permissible on the spot. This is a good one I want to throw out.
Stand! 50 metres.
So a really good part is the communication. Yes, we're trying really hard with the communication, but I want to show you the importance of the hand signal. So we don't actually get the hand signal up to here, which is the third time we've told the player to stand. So if you watch it again, watch the umpire when they tell the player to stand.
Stand! 50 metres.
So we want you to time your strong hand signal the same time you're calling to stand. So then there is no excuse for the player not to hear or see the hand signal. All right, let's have a look at some examples of players moving off the mark. So we have a look, hand and stand signal goes out there. From this point, no movement other than up or down on the spot is permissible. It results in a free kick. 50 metre penalty. Let's have a look at this one here. So holding the ball decision, we see a strong stand call here from the umpire. So only up or down movements available and the Essendon player moves backwards, therefore a 50 metre penalty.
Yep. Stand! 50 metres! Up to me.
So strong hand and stand. We get the movement back from the West Coast player off the mark after the stand call and before the play on call, therefore 50 metre penalty. All right, so on to your second one. So when in the immediate contest unreasonably holds a player. So after a mark or free kick has been awarded, an opposition player unreasonably holds the player with the ball to take the kick. A warning may be provided in these cases as an opposition was in immediate contest.
Play on. Yours.
So you might have seen this example in previous modules.
50. Straight to him, please. Straight to him.
So even though the Collingwood player is in the marking contest, he unreasonably holds the opposition player after he has taken the mark, creating a time delay.
Able to cleanly
Next
take
example.
the ball and hand it off.
So the long ball out, Drayab's kick is a good one. Mackie takes the mark, the skipper. Here are the bull hands, and he's going to get 50 as well. Goodness me.
So even though the Essendon player is in the marking contest, he unreasonably holds the opposition player after he has taken the mark, creating a time delay. So there's your vision there. So we look at it again. And yes, the Werribee player is in the marking contest. However, there's an unreasonable hold there that creates a time delay, therefore 50-metre penalty. Okay. Into number 3. So when not in the immediate contest. So we just looked at when in the immediate contest. We're now looking at when not in the immediate contest. Holds a player after that player has marked the football or been awarded a free kick. So no warnings get provided in these cases. So a player takes a mark or is awarded a free kick. That player cannot hold or impede the play in any way if not initially in the contest. So a good example here. So not in the contest and unreasonably holds. So you see that not in the contest and holds the player to ground, creating a time delay.
Take it through. To the goal line. Thank you, guys. All the way. On the goal.
So paid a mark. We look GWS not considered in the marking contest, unreasonably holds the opposition player that impedes the play, not initially in the contest. That's what leads to the 50. We see those screenshots coming up. Not staying, apologies. Another really good example of this. So we can see GWS player once again not in the marking contest and holds the Gold Coast player, which impedes him from playing on or taking his kick, therefore creating a time delay and results in a 50-metre penalty. And you see that there. Not in the contest, holds, impedes, and creates a time delay. All right, let's look at some protected areas. So enters or does not make every endeavour to immediately vacate the protected area. Players must angle out or deviate out or make every endeavour out of the protected area. Players should not run parallel to the set kick. And then obviously remember, funny buggers we'll cover later on in this coaching module. So an AFL example here. The mark taken, and we're watching the West Coast player come through the protected area here. So what we need to see him is angle out on that angle there. Instead, what we see is him continue his same line through the protected area, resulting in a 50-metre penalty. So that's the explanation. Does not make every endeavour to clear the protected area. Player must angle out or deviate out of the protected area. He runs parallel to it. All right. A similar example here. Gold Coast player must angle out of the protected area. Instead, runs parallel with the set kick. So we want him to run on that angle there, versus the angle he does run on is parallel with the set kick. And that results in a 50-metre penalty. All right, so a part of this is crib as well. So we see here where the mark's taken and the Carlton player stands. So mark taken, Carlton comes in and cribs a mark. So 50-metre penalty should be awarded in this case. So Carlton player not in the marking contest and stands the mark clearly forward of where the mark was controlled. So that's going to result in a 50. So similar, the Richmond player cribs a mark, not in the marking contest, elects to go forward of where the mark was controlled, considered a crib and a 50-metre penalty. And that's your explanation there. All right, moving on. So has not returned the football directly on the full. So the ball should be returned directly to the player offended against without delay. Let's have a look at a few of these examples. So we see a free kick paid to Williamstown, and you see that there. The Richmond player drops the ball onto the ground. Coming up here. So the ball is not returned directly to the offended player, therefore 50-metre penalty. All right, our next example. So a free kick here goes the way of the Brisbane line. So GWS is expected in this scenario to give the ball straight to the offended player and passes the ball to the umpire. Therefore, a 50-metre penalty. So we see the offended player is the one in orange. The player with the ball is in the green, passes it to the umpire instead of returning it directly on the full to the offended player in orange. Oh, so here we go. Finally plays this one.
Holding, Richmond. Oliver. Straight to him. 50 metres, thank you. Your teammate that knocked it out.
So well explained there. We see the free kick go to Richmond, and then we see the teammate come through here and knock the ball out. So the ball should be returned directly to the player offended against without delay on the full, and that does not occur in this example, so 50-metre penalty is required. So this one here comes down to timing of it. So Oliver, free kick out of bounds on the full. So there is too great of a delay here from Oliver handing the ball back to the North Melbourne player, and the ball is not returned directly without delay on the full. And you see that in that example. All right, second last one. So engages in any conduct which delays or impedes the play. So the clause of the laws may include such actions as knocking a player to ground after controlling the mark or preventing/impeding the player from accessing the ball. Good example to start us off.
Holding, Richmond. Oliver. Straight up. Straight to him. 50 metres, thank you. Your teammate that knocked it out. Step forward. Time back on.
So pretty well summed up here in what we're looking for with these 50s. So actions is knocking the player to ground, no. Controlling the mark, impeding a player from accessing the ball. That is what that is. And a correctly paid 50-metre penalty.
Clayton back.
Versus this one is more so this first part of this. So action is knocking a player to ground after controlling the mark is what that is, which delays and impedes the play. So if we have another look, Sandringham kicks backward, marks taken by teammate, and then knocked to ground from the Richmond player, which impedes the play. Another example of that.
Play on. Hold the ball, no finish. Straight up, please. Let him up now. Straight up. Come on, mate. Stay up. Step forward. Time back on.
The player to ground after controlling the mark, which delays or impedes the play. Slightly different one, which delays or impedes the play.
Contact. South foot. Let him go. Let him go. And 50 metres. Time away. James, straight back now.
So you see the Gold Coast player here delays and impedes the play by kicking the ball away, which prevents the player from accessing the ball. So good one to be aware of. Follow the ball after the free kick potentially leads you to a situation like that. All right, and finally, engages in any other conduct.
Send him. Straight through. Bring him around.
And we see a block off the ball.
Free kick, Fremantle. Sam's would count here. It'll be 50 metres. 50 metres. Luke, it's your kick, 50 metres. 75.
Up here, 74, yep. Keep coming.
Up to the next umpire, please.
Up here.
So well worked through the umpire comes in that situation. Fremantle has the kick out. Fremantle receive an additional free kick. The greatest penalty is the 50-metre penalty.
Then got it. Let it go. Gang. And 50 metres. Time to wait. James, stay back now.
Another one just to be aware of. So when a free kick's been paid there, any additional acts that might be a free kick which occurs there results in a 50-metre penalty. So just be aware of on the ground potential situations like this where the head is pushed back into the ground, and some good action, body language there by the umpire. Remember, sending the 50-metre penalty, we'll touch about this in implementation, but ensure you're following up the ground with the 50-metre penalty. Cool. Next one.
Yeah, okay.
So a mark's been paid, set kick,
All clear.
then executed,
Thanks, Harrison.
and we see
15
an
metres,
additional
please.
free kick occurred there.
Free kick,
for a
Fremantle.
stomach
Sam
punch
Switkowski,
or
it'll be
a
50
clenched
metres.
fist to
50
the
metres.
stomach,
Luke, it's your kick,
which would
50
be
metres.
an additional
Up here,
free
74,
kick
yep.
once that set
Keep
kick has
coming.
been executed.
Up to
So
the
we
next umpire, please.
advance 50
Up here.
metres towards the line. And we see that there. All right, so that's your laws of the game relating to 50-metre penalties on your screen now. So we've covered a fair bit there and a lot of examples, so feel free to go back and refresh there if needed. Now we're going to touch on 50-metre implementation. So what we need to remember, fast plays. So best option may be to hand the implementation over to your support umpire in quick plays. And we saw a few examples of that in what we just went through. Your communication needs to be go to the next umpire. Versus slow plays, the umpire in control can take control of that 50-metre penalty down the ground. Either way, if you are handing this play over, ensure if you're the umpire that paid the 50-metre penalty, you continue to follow up after and clear the protected area. When implementing a 50-metre penalty from the kick out, use your ground markings and things around the ground to continue to help you get the best result. So the 50-metre penalty shall be implemented from the player on the mark. So if it's a kick out, you work out 9 metres of the goal square, 15, so 24. So the new mark should be set at 74 metres from the scoring line. So that's for a kick out. Understand that you've got the centre square as a really good resource for 50 metres. You've got the 50-metre arcs as well, which are a really good resource. So spend some time before game days familiarising yourself with ground markings to help you get the best result. Let's touch on funny buggers. So what we know about funny buggers, it refers to the situations where opposition players split within the protected area when a mark or free kick has been awarded. So due to the split, the defending player may be caught within the protected area and may in fact cut through the protected area or even run parallel to the line of kick without making every endeavour to clear. So if you look at a couple of these examples that come up that we go through now, they will be explained. So we have a look here, Geelong and North Melbourne coming into screen now. They split within the protected area, which results in North Melbourne being caught in the protected area and in fact cuts through the protected area and through the set kick, which results in funny buggers occurring. So this is all okay. So this example here is also funny buggers. There's a split within the protected area. On this case, we've paid 50-metre penalties. This should not be a 50-metre penalty. So we have a look at the North and Geelong players split within the protected area. So due to the split, the Geelong player is caught within the protected area and runs through the protected area and doesn't make every endeavour to clear it. So therefore, this is all okay and no 50-metre penalty to be awarded. So another example of funny buggers occurring. So you see them come into frame here. There's a split within the protected area, which results in the Collingwood... Oh, no, there's another one. So the Collingwood player split in the first one, which is all okay. And then in this second one, the Sandringham player comes through the protected area due to the split behind in the protected area. So a couple to work through there. Both result in funny buggers and no 50-metre penalty. And then to finish off, we had the bull ants and a free kick paid. So players start to come behind that protected area now. We see them highlighted. There's a split within the protected area here, which results in the Northern Bull Ants player cutting through the protected area. This is not a 50-metre penalty and well officiated. Okay, so that's your summary there. So finally, our last point to cover in the 50-metre module is preventing a player from taking part in the next active play. So we refer back to the law. If a player intentionally makes prohibited contact against an opposition player who has disposed of the football for the purpose of preventing that player from taking part in the next active play, the field umpire shall award a free kick and a 50-metre penalty. So let's have a look. Sorry, if we just go back. Some key points to assess in regards to working out whether you should pay a 50-metre penalty in these situations is if the tackler has not had an opportunity to release the tackle, only a free kick should occur. If the intent of the tackle was to prevent the opposition player from taking part in the next active play or being able to run to the next contest, a 50-metre penalty should result. The 50-metre penalty will be implemented from where the infringement occurred and is awarded to the player offended against. Let's have a look at some examples.
Holding. 50 metres, going in the next active play. Yeah, it's yours. Going in the next active play. You're about 2 metres in front of the edge of the square. Yep, maybe 5. 2 metres.
So if we have a look again, so the player handballs, trying to get onto the next active play. Footscray has had the opportunity to release a tackle, therefore a correct 50-metre penalty results. And we see this in the screenshots here. So bringing it back to player has disposed of the football and is being prevented from taking part in the next active play. A good example here from last year. Handball. So really well worked through here. So handball. So clearly the Footscray player has held after the disposal, which has prevented the Sydney player from running on to the next act and well processed for a 50-metre penalty. Some older examples. Oops. Looking at this one here. So on the outside of the contest there, handball, very similar to the Sydney example, held and prevented from taking place in the next active play, therefore a 50-metre penalty. And that's your law there. So if we bring it back for a quick recap, so what's covered here? The law relating to 50-metre penalties and examples, the 50-metre implementation, funny buggers, and preventing a player from taking part in the next active play. Obviously a bit to go through there. Tell you to go back, use it as a reference point. That's it for the 50-metre penalty 2026. Thanks everyone.